What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans struggle to type exclamation LA. That was what that was. How you guys doing? What's happening? Spawning in the top side of the map in the blue color, playing as Zeus. His name is Joe. Slow Joe, but not Slow Joe, because he's incredibly fast, because he's insanely good at this game. His opponent today, in the red color, playing as Gaia. His name is Kvoth. Kvoth the Great, Kvoth the Mighty, Kvoth the Wise, Kvoth the Having Built a Dock. It is currently 1-0 in this best of 3 between these two cracked Age of Mythology individuals. Excited to see what they're going to do, what they're going to come up with here in this game. We've got a bit of an odd spawn here. This spawn here is looking mightily similar to a certain Midgard we've all come to know and love or despise. I'll let you be the judge of that. But more importantly, as I see a kind of break here in the map, this is going to mean, and also here, this is going to mean we've got a 4-lake Midgard spawn, which means basically the waters are going to be like kind of like this, kind of like this, kind of like you know what I mean. You know what I mean. 4-lake spawn, but also we got some water in the middle of this map. So even after all is said and done, the water is taking up more and more of this map to give advantages where advantages are due. We'll see how these guys are going to manage this. So if this is me playing this game, we are looking for a 5-15, 18 fishing ship, 21 fishing ship advance here for both players of some variety here. Gaia can go for a 430 into more fishing ship if she so chooses. But unlike Kronos and Uranus, Gaia doesn't necessarily need that 430 to get damage done because she can't do said damage. So advancing super fast in favor of getting out the Valor on the Oracles and the Promethean to put pressure on nice and early doesn't actually net Gaia anything. Instead, Gaia gets the advantages in the cheap fishing ships, the extra economy she gets not having to get any of those farming upgrades, the cheaper fishing upgrades as well come in pretty handy. And all the other good stuff. But this also is a bit of a peculiar fishing spawn. A little bit of a peculiar fishing spawn. This one here gets 2 fishing spawns a location. This isn't something that we are so used to in Age of Mythology. In Age of Mythology, normally a map is either 3 spawns or 1 spawn. So you get the like salmon spawn, the perch spawn, and you get 3 or 1 most of the time. But this map, on competitive mate, we get 2. You get 2. This throws a bit of a curveball in the whole grand scheme of what is value and what is not value. We'll see how it's all going to go as more fishing spots are getting grabbed here. I think the cool thing about these maps is simply on the fact that we haven't really seen this style of map before. So a lot of super unknown strategy. We don't know, is it going to be great to try and contest this side water over here? Should we just kind of say, well, we're just going to split this map in half a little bit and take it from there? Do we just go one of the locations and try and be aggressive? Do you try and get sneaky docks up everywhere to try and be a pest here? Or do you just kind of like get your fish, ignore water altogether and just rush land in some way, shape or form? As we've got Joe already in the first part of this game, throwing a wall down, trying to protect his side of the water here. And we'll see how it's all going to go. Grugnir Odin Spear on the map as well. A really big upgrade for the Hoplites and Mermill. Actually, a super good upgrade for both gods. But obviously with Zeus here, you're feeling a lot more happier about your decisions if you get that, because it stacks with all the other things that you have. Anyways, gold villagers grabbing this one over here, living the dream, and see what's happening. Unfortunately here for Kvoth, he hasn't sent his villager over here to get this dock down. He hasn't spotted over here either, And it does look to me like Kvoth is kind of just going for something fairly standard here. I don't see him getting the upgrade for his fish just yet, but there he is. There it's coming through. Persine going to come in handy as Joe just about to hit Athena here. I'm not surprised to see Athena, though I do think that Hermes has some very real utility on this map. And we'll see if Joe's going to get any sort of advantage here at all, as now the automaton swinging around here, going to try and take down some of these docks of Joe, as Joe is still getting these fishing ships out himself. There is, what is this looking like? 4, 6, 8, 10 spawns there, and something like 10 spawns in his main base, as the villager does get spotted and will indeed be shanked down as the automaton of Kvoth draws first blood. Channels coming through now for Kvoth, going to be speeding his villagers around the map as they are like, they're just having a fun time. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. They're just having a fun time. Jason having to get pulled back here. Minotaur getting pulled back. Both players get a severely big boost to their economy here by getting the fish in the early stages of the game here. So Kvoth trying to put this pressure on as best as he can. And what is sort of unspoken about here, as Joe's trying to grab the fish over here as well, is actually the fact that to spend all of the resources, if you do stay one town center on a fishing map, you actually need to go up to like 5 or 6 military buildings to spend all the resources you're going to get, because you've got an extra 20 villages or something that you wouldn't normally have. All of that extra food goes straight into buildings, which therefore means you're going to be able to afford all of those extra buildings here. So we'll see how it's going to go, as the Odysseus and Jason going to be wandering forward here to take out some of these units. So we see not actually able to get that special ability off. The automaton wandering back into the cheeky spider lairs here. You're never too upset about losing to spider lairs when you have as many resources as these players have got here. It's not that big of a deal. Obviously, it's nice for Kvoth to get those early picks here, making some more of those hero units on the battlefield to try and take out the Minotaur, as Kvoth's units are kind of getting picked off. He still has a handful of stuff remaining. We see an automaton here able to repair back up that other automaton. So the early damage that Joe's been able to do gets neglected in a big way here, as Kvoth retreats back. And, when we do see the Kvoth's going to come through and deal with that one. A bolt there onto that Hero Mamilo, as Joe is ready to move out here. Kvoth has to come all the way back home. It seems like his unit's not quite ready to fight. We see another dock coming up for Kvoth. A little bit delayed. The docks are up here as well. And while this is all going on, I've completely missed this, but Kvoth comes in and he's taking out all of the fish here of Joe. This is a really, really strong maneuver here from Kvoth. Obviously, Joe still has his home fish remaining, but taking out all of these fishing ships is going to be a big help. 7 bareems is a big commitment for this, but it will allow Kvoth to come over here and fish this up and live the dream where that's concerned. Not only that, another classic Kvoth maneuver on a second gold mine before his home gold mine expires. Why not? Makes a lot of sense for the Atlanteans to do that kind of thing, because they can just throw a mana down. They're going to throw the mana down there later anyways, so may as well do it early. As Kvoth now moving out. Joe also moving out here. 85 population for Joe to Kvoth's 114 population. Joe struggling to get these houses up fast enough. A little bit lackluster on his gold economy here. And maybe too many villagers on food right now, given he's got 6 there, which is going to mean that Kvoth is able to get up to his 115 population. And Joe's only at 92, as we're also seeing a second town center now getting dropped for Kvoth, as he's going to continue here in the classical age, not opting for a faster heroic age or anything like that. Instead saying, yep, going to just get that next age, get that next town center up and see how we go. As we're also seeing watchtowers coming through for Kvoth, as the army is starting to look very, very scary. But Kvoth gets his reinforcements in here, going to push these bonds back. So we see the trireme have been built here for Joe to defend his fishing locations in that area here. The bareme up the top side of the map as well, forcing those fishing ships of Joe back into the dock. So Kvoth has been able to put that pressure on very, very nicely as this game is continuing. But the one thing that Joe hasn't done yet really is commit a huge amount onto water. He's made 4 trireme, which is only really 8 population spaces. So if Joe sacks these in some way, shape, or form, he's going to get an even bigger army to push in and try and take down Kvoth's main base. As Kvoth moving out, and Joe with his spider senses does decide to make a really, really aggressive push forward. I'm a little bit upset that we haven't seen Joe getting himself medium infantry just yet, but the massive amounts of Minotaur that Joe have got right now are going to come in absolutely clutch here. I would love to see Bull Minotaur at some point getting researched as well. One of those upgrades we don't get to see very often right now. Joe's got himself 500 wood in the bank, so plenty of wood. Just not enough favor yet to get himself the next those upgrades. But Kvoth now at 125 population. Is his army going to be swinging in here? We do still have restoration in the bank here for Joe, as most of those classical age spider layers have been used for Kvoth, giving him whatever advantage comes with that. But now Joe's retreating, going to be waiting on his medium infantry, but while he's retreating, he's getting a lot of damage, taking a lot of damage from the Terma, the Caraballister, those Murmillo, the Automaton, all of that stuff here. So Joe seemingly moving all the way back, as now the Minotaur doing what they will here, and that's life. We do see the second town center coming up now for Joe. Town center up here for Kvoth. This one actually, I mean, they're both quite close to each other. As we will be seeing Hoplites going to check this out, make sure that there's no stray buildings on that location there, as the Hoplites going to be moving away. They do have that 4.7 speed, much, much faster than the Murmillo, something you're not used to seeing because you see so much Oranos chasing around Hoplites and all the rest of it. But Joe able to get somewhere here with those hoplites. Going to go after this dock here with the Bareem that's at 99%. We're going to be able to finish that dock off pretty quickly unless Kvoth can get himself the third town center or kill off a couple of his units to get his Bareem out here. And this is going to be a little bit of a nuisance here for Kvoth, as his fishing ships are going to be a little bit let down as the units coming through. I feel like Joe could actually turn and take this fight fairly easily if he so chose. Now we see Joe making a big movement up to the top side of the map, going to be attempting to deny this town center away from Kvoth, and he does have enough of a sense to stop this one from going up. As Kvoth getting himself signal fires, definitely looking to go to that next age as soon as he possibly can. 700 food in the bank, 1,300 gold in the bank. The citizen here gets absolutely surrounded, but let's just pretend like this citizen didn't just walk through a building there. Let's just pretend. It didn't happen, but it happened. Good raids coming through for Kvoth here, taking down these villages as Ghost Citizen apparently exist, guys. Ghosts exist. Walk through walls, hacks, all the other good stuff. Joe now coming up to pretty close to the heroic age himself. So a really, really nice way forward here for Joe is to sit 2 town centers and try and get to the mythic age here. So you are seeing him having to throw this wall down. He does split up his villages nicely to get these walls up, but they don't quite work that way. The long walls are helpful and everything, but you will have to come over here and defend this one, as Joe now pushing forward, trying to take down even more of these units. I do think that there's a real possibility here for Joe to just go for the jugular, take down this location, and just start going for town center raids, because there's a lot of stray population all over the map here for Kvoth, attacking multiple different locations. Town center is defending everything here. Joe in this point has very little gold income, but he does have this gold mine over on the back of the map here. As Joe's now in the base of Kvoth, he does have his Odysseus trying to snipe down this Stymphalian bird here. Kvoth not paying attention to the best of ability there, but he doesn't end up getting punished, as, I mean, like always, every Greek hero seems to be on the booze, not able to hit that mark very easily a lot of the time. But Kvoth is now thinking about that next age. He wants to get to the mythic age. He probably can get himself he already has Sultan Forest, so those fishing ships are working overtime here. as Joe has to continue pushing in, retreating back, figuring out what he wants to do. This automaton is going to town on these villagers. Here is Joe not paying attention to this one. As the automaton's going to get way more kills than he otherwise should have got there. And Kvoth is motoring ahead. Do we see that marker down anywhere? Not sure. The town center is almost up for Kvoth, as there it goes. The Barim returning back onto this position here. You can always think about getting yourself arrow ship cladding. It's one of those super underappreciated, super strong technologies, which helps out a ton. And if you're the one who gets it and your opponent doesn't, you're just at a straight advantage. You should always consider doing that, as Atlas, the god of choice here for Kvoth. Makes a lot of sense going Atlas against Greek. Against Zeus, I should say, as the hoplites wander in here, going to try and take down this town center, it would seem. But the reason for Atlas, a lot of the time, is actually more so that your Tartarian gate doesn't get a lot of value against Zeus, because Zeus can just bring his hoplites back, stick his heroes onto the Tartarian gate, and then the Tartarian gate gets taken down fairly easily. Not only that, the Argus feel a lot better at dealing with enemy Colossus than a Lampedia, even though the Lampedia is arguably better in a lot of ways. Anyways, the hoplites retreating away here, as Joe's still trying to figure out a way forward. He is going through Dionysus here. I really don't like Dionysus against Gaia. I feel like with Greek in general, with Zeus and Hades in general, that underworld is such a key god power to the Greeks' ability to win a game, and just not going Apollo is most of the time a mistake, unless you got a real reason for bronze, the Hydra, or those cavalry upgrades. So now Joe moving forward, he gets his Hydra into the game. These units all getting kind of pushed back here, as Kvoth now 3 town centers. He's dropping yet another military barracks onto this location. Can think about taking this one if he so chooses here, as we do indeed see the implode getting dropped down, and this is going to push Joe's military down even further. But Joe's got a ton of resources in the bank now, and he has decided to click up Hephaestus here. Look at all those resources here. We'll see if he's going to be able to use them any way here, as we do see the Arcus coming through, the Stymphalian bird flying overhead. Another really cool usage of the Stymphalian bird in this matchup on this map specifically, is to actually use the Stymphalian bird to target down fishing ships. Like, it doesn't do bonus damage or anything, but those feathers are going to be able to pick off those fishing ships at some point if they so chose. As now the Hydra getting pulled away by that from that Argus there, as the Odysseus trying to pick this one off. The Hydra not getting controlled. There he runs again. And the Argus does indeed turn around and decides to zap a Hephaestus instead. And Joe can now smartly finish off the Argus and feel fine about his position here. We'll see how Kvoth's going to go. As there's a kind of desperation, in a way, restoration here from Joe, as the palace getting dropped down in the face of Joe. Probably going to be thinking about getting fanatics out in this stage, as the Hephaestus are out, so maybe you want to make something a little bit different. Fortress coming up here for Joe, the idea being potentially Heliopoli. Heliopoli being very good. And we see how this is all going to go. The villagers moving up to the top side of the map, storehouse coming down over here onto this gold mine. The gold situation for Joe, a little bit dire. He's got 3,000 gold left over here, and these top 2 gold mines are in no way, shape, or form protected. I love these sneaky docks here from Kvoth in the later stages of the game, hitting what seemed to be safe fish, but is very much not safe fish. All you got to do is get a dock down and build a couple of boats, and you can put some real pressure onto your opponent here. As that is exactly what Kvoth has managed to do here. Whereas Joe has neglected the water completely in this game and is going to start feeling some pain because of it. He's only at 49 villages. You kind of want to be at 80 villages for this fishing ship raids to not feel so disgusting, as now Kvoth is just, spam palace, make fanatic, why not? Still a little bit short on wooden golds here to get himself that fortified town centers, which can be really helpful. But we'll see what Kvoth is going to try here. As his Arcus moving up to the top side here, going to try and take down some of these villages. There is a little bit of a timing window here that Joe is playing for. He's gone Hephaestus. He wants to get himself Forge of Olympus. Has he gotten it yet? I have to click here. He hasn't gotten Forge of Olympus yet, I don't think. So Kvoth has got a lot more time than he otherwise would think before things start getting a little bit dicey. Because if you take a look at what Kvoth's actually got here, the armor upgrade's really not that good. There's more villages getting taken out. The Barima out here taking down fishing ships. Joe not paying attention, just very focused on dealing with the temples over here and the palace and everything else as the Stymphalian birds wandering back in onto this fight. The Odysseus here to take them down very, very quickly here as they do get sniped off. But now these units here for Kvoth wandering forward to try and defend, getting a little bit out of position as the Colossus can now start taking down the palace as well. And Kvoth loses his footing just a little bit here, but while this is all going on, getting up a fourth town center, hitting the gold mines, absolutely huge here. Joe does have himself 1,800 gold in the bank, does still have 1,800 gold in this gold mine, so he does have to worry about other potential gold mines that Joe could steal, or something like that, and we'll see how it's all going to go. The Bellerophon wandering forward here for Joe. Bellerophon being one of the most disgusting raiders in the game and also being an incredibly terrifying force to use against this opponent, as we are seeing some of that cheeky 6.0 speed being used here. Jumping in onto a citizen over there. Doesn't quite pick off a villager like the jumping attack picks off a... doesn't quite pick off a citizen like the jumping attack picks off a villager. But 3 jumps will indeed kill off 1 citizen. So that is one way you can do it. So we'll be seeing this hero citizen potentially falling as the Bellerophon jumps in and one hits that Argus. Feeling very, very good where that's concerned. Now the Arcus here for Kvoth still wandering around, and honestly here Kvoth's at 160 of our 160 population, but a lot of that is in economy. He's got 13 fishing ships, 26 villages. His upgrades very far behind the 8-ball here, just now getting himself heavy infantry as Joe is slowly pushing through the middle of the map here, as the Hydra will be able to take down these Arcus at some point in the near future here. It would seem the Bellerophon getting a little bit too overzealous there. As pulled back there, 148 HP remaining. Doesn't have himself access that to that healing upgrade that the Zeus players would know and love with Apollo. But honestly, this Hydra has gotten a lot more value than I otherwise would have thought. Now up to 4 heads. The 4-headed Hydra, an absolute beast. Going to be absolutely cleaning up these Arcus. I think he one-hits the Arcus. He does one-hit the Arcus. Now he's on 5 heads as the Arcus coming in. Can I get a 4? No. You just can't win them all, can you? You can win some of them, not all of them. As Kvoth still putting up a defense. He still has the population advantage. He's on this gold mine over here. He needs to get those upgrades through. We were talking about Forge of Olympus coming through, and Joe going to start getting all of his armory upgrades. Once they come through, it's a really difficult time to be alive. I'm not sure what else can really be said here. One thing here that is a very, very little known fact is if you have like, say, 10 Toxotes and a Heliopoli, actually attacking a building, it's actually better to garrison into the Heliopoli than it is to have the Toxotes shooting the building, because it gives a boost to the damage that Heliopoli does. Heliopoli shoots three arrows, so you actually get a little bit more damage where that's concerned. So there you go. So now putting up another fortress on this front, going to be mightily definitely trying to hold this gold mine over here. As we do see these 3 Barim over here. A little bit of a waste of population space now. Gonna have to delete those at some point. See how it's going to go, as now Kvoth is starting to get himself a decent amount of units here. He's getting himself Volcanic Forge as well to help out his units. The Bellerophon wandering over to this location. He's got himself 6 HP here, so we'll see if Joe's 6 HP Bellerophon can do anything of worth here. As Joe can kind of just screw around with this Bellerophon as much as he wants to try and jump in over here, but in the end, we'll get sniped down there by a Fnatic. Dead, dead, dead. There's a gold mine over here as well for Kvoth, so he's got plenty of gold in the bank. As Joe slowly rolling forward. Look at this army here. Heliopoli Toxodia. This is not a composition you would very regularly see. It is asking to be getting completely carved by a handful of destroyers, Contarius, anything like that. But at this point, we just have Arcus, and when your opponent goes, when you basically just archers, so you have to micro this so well to take down those enemy archers. But having a handful of melee units here to take down these Heliopoli is going to be really, really helpful. And Joe's still pushing back. He still doesn't actually have himself fortified town centers. Either that or he's missing a house. So no fortified town centers here as Bellerophon makes a reappearance. And Joe's economy, while it's not bad, is still struggling as we just see this one Arcus over here causing issues. One citizen on the back over here chopping down wood, ready to throw up some buildings in that corner. We see this citizen here getting kind of shanked down by, or jabbed down by the Bellerophon. It's going to be getting pulled back here. And see if Joe can continue to make a move. Now this is mostly Arcus, so here's a little assistance for players out there who are looking to get a little bit better at the game. When you have, say, when you have your army of, say, 30 units and you want it to be 15 Arcus, 15 Murmillo, it's actually best to cut the Toxotes or Arcus or archers, cut the archers from training at that point so that you can go and continue to replace the more commonly picked off unit, which is the Murmillo, and slowly, if you need more Arcus, build more Arcus when they are needed. Because at this point, just having archers is actually a really, same thing for Joe here, is a really poor way to make any sort of serious move forward here. As the Bellerophon moving back and forth, causing a lot of issues here for Kvoth as he has to micro this much better than he's actually not doing a bad job on it, in all honesty. The Bellerophon is just being annoying. The Heliopoli in the front not really taking too much heat here. Kvoth's at 125 of 160 population, not really with a whole lot of food here. Hasn't started his trade route just yet. He's got one market over here trying to make those llama caravans. Kvoth on the back foot is hurting a lot more than I would have expected here, as we do see the Stymphalian birds getting picked off as Joe has to kind of pull back. He's at champion Toxotes, Heliopolis. We still haven't seen Joe make a serious effort at moving over here and taking the fortified town center down, which is a really confusing fact here. And the real question is, why hasn't Kvoth gotten like a butt ton of farms out here? If he's sitting 2,000 wood, you need those farms. And now we're starting to see Kvoth getting those Contarius. And in this game, unlike the last game, Kvoth did go through Freyja, so he can get Lance of Stone Contarius, for example, as we are seeing the Bellerophon coming through here. And you do want to get the Poseidon secret upgrade for your Contarius to make them very fast here, as the Bellerophon gets chased down a little bit, still getting microed around. 6 Contarius versus 1 Bellerophon. Bellerophon costs 4 population. You can only really afford to chase the Bellerophon around with 2 Contarius, but 2 Contarius is actually enough a lot of the time to just stop any of the cheeky shenanigans. So now Kvoth has managed to amass an army yet again to push Joe back. Joe's still sitting at 130 of 130-ish population here. He's doing a good job where that's concerned. The Bareem coming back over here as the Juggernaut says, get out of here. I've had enough of this. And now Joe comes in and he's setting up some towers on this location. I'm not sure exactly what his plan is here, but those villagers are mostly getting sniped down, as this has been spotted already by Kvoth nicely, as both players still kind of butting heads in the very center of the map here. Where'd that Bellerophon go? I think it must have gotten picked off or something, I'm not sure. It's More units going to come over here. The villagers dropping out. Going to try and get an extra tower back up. These towers, do they have crenellations? They don't have crenellations, so Contarius completely fine still here. We'll be taking this down fairly fast. We see irrigation coming through as well as bronze shields. For Kvoth, as his food is going to start looking a lot more healthy here. I think Kvoth is a little bit scared about the position he's in. He's got 2,000 gold left in this gold mine, and he will be wanting this gold up here. But we have seen the citizen moving up and stealing this gold away from Joe. Joe, too, being in an awfully difficult position to be in because he has to actually start making trade here fairly soon. And he's not going to want to. He's not going to want to at all. How are the armory upgrades looking? Nearly full iron for Joe, and very, very poor upgrades here for Kvoth, not being able to afford those food-based upgrades. He does have himself bronze shields. Might be able to get the iron shields a little bit later here, but very, very far behind on those upgrades. As Kvoth is still slow pushing through here as these medium Contarius trying to get involved. The villagers over here getting pushed back. The army here going to be able to actually take down the fortress here as he's cleared up these towers that came down. I think Kvoth might throw up a building or something there a little bit later here. As the unit's still pushing forward, causing some issues. We're still seeing some good micro here from both players. Joe, very, very keen eye actually on the Bellerophon, doing some nice jobs where that's concerned, as the fortress here going to get cleaned up. Definitely having some sort of an idea about what about getting this gold mine is super important, as Kvoth's food's still very low. More farms! More farms! And Joe's still not really able to make any movement forward. Here we are seeing Kvoth now going for a cheeky raid up onto this location. This is a huge raid, to be honest. Taking down the fortress and then going after these villages. Joe's at only 200 gold here. So there's no trade route for Joe just yet. He has to take the top corner, which Kvoth's kind of got under control. And there's not a good location at all for Joe to put a trade route down. But while this is happening, Joe's going to try and secure this gold mine as well. As the units here for Kvoth do manage to push through. The question is, can Kvoth hold while attacking a different location, while being down armor and unit quality here? And it seems like, oh no, it seems like in that moment, Kvoth is made a sneaky here. He made the siege Bareems, and Joe realizes that he doesn't have the capabilities to defend this fast enough. He's going to lose the town center, and he's not able to. So the fact of the matter is, there is a fortress here. There is Heliopolis here, and you can just come over and defend this with a Heliopolis. It's more than enough to stop the siege Bareems, but I think Joe is just too slow and a little bit, maybe a little bit too frustrated there to deal with the siege Bareems, because you're like, oh, I can't believe that this is in range of the water. The fact of the matter is, this too is in range of the water. So Joe could have gone for that at some point as well here, as his villagers did try and sneak in here, but just too slow to work that one out. But in all honesty, Joe had the advantage here for so long, and he was picking off every building in front of him. I don't know why he didn't just go after this town center. This town center was the one. A good win for Kvoth, though. Hits the gold, hits the town center, holds the push long enough, even probably enough here as well, to completely have held it, and gets Kvoth gets the dub. Leveling the series 1 apiece. We've got one more game in this series coming for you. It's a best of 3, so first to 2. Both players have to pick a different god now, though, so Kvoth not going to have a Gaia. It'll be interesting to see what he decides to go for as a second pick. As I have been seeing him working at some other gods, but as a Gaia main, that's all he's got. If you guys enjoyed these games, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.